Okay. Hey, the next one is from Valentin Narchuk, and the subject is Moxley interview. Hey, Conan, Di, and JoJo, it's Valentin from Russia.
From Russia, yeah.
Could Jon Moxley interview affect aspiring pro wrestlers so they wouldn't want to work for WWE? Seems like now pro wrestlers are also hardcore fans, so they would care about things that Moxley said. That's a lot, and keep up a good work. I don't know. It's not going to prevent. Everybody still wants to go work for WWE if it's better money. If you're an aspiring wrestler, you want to make the most money you can.
This isn't exactly the same thing. But, all you hear from former writers and stuff is how hard it is to work there and time-consuming and brutal and, creatively toxic. But if I had the opportunity to write for WWE, of course I would take it,
Yeah, of course.
So.
I'll tell you about Moxley. He's got this to me, he would doing 2.5 hours with this, to me it shows a little bit of insecurity. Like maybe he kind of knows that he's not as good as he thinks he is. And that throwing shade at the WWE is a way to make him feel better about himself.
I think he should have just let the Jericho interview speak for itself and then stopped. And too many interviews, and like you said, I didn't even know that was 2.5 hours. He's going to lose a little mystique.
Conan,
right?
would you...
Bro, let me tell you, I went through the same thing. I left AAA and I scorched them, bro, like you have no... I wish you understood Spanish. I scorched them on my Spanish podcast like you have no idea. And I still took shots at them in my English podcast. And so I was so mad. And I was like, fuck it. I don't give a shit who says, oh, you're a bitter veteran, whatever. I'm going to let everybody know what the fuck is going on over there, which I will get heat for, but I don't care. So I just think he probably was so fed up that he was like, fuck it. When I get out, I'm going to say what nobody else will, So that's how I look at it.
Interesting. Do you think he thinks he's better than he is?
Doesn't everybody, though? I mean, don't you have to?
I don't know. I just think it's funny how the narratives in wrestling is like when the fans are behind something, it's kind of like they're not presenting like honest pictures and stuff and everything, Because like Dean Ambrose was like, when he came into WWE, he was like, oh, he's the next big thing. Then he kind of underwhelmed, okay, and up until he was finished with them. But now he's like a big thing again just because he's not in WWE, just like he's at AEW now. You know what I'm saying?
I think because a lot of people knew that they could have done better with him and they didn't. I think I'm one of them. I think they gave him a lot of stupid shit to say and stupid shit to do.
Oh, yeah.
And he was always very entertaining on the mic. I kind of like his character. It's just crazy, unhinged, like, it's just different. It looks different than everybody else.
I like it. I like it when it's more organic. I don't like when they're trying to act crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's got a very remember when we talked about him when he first came in and he was a baby face and like we were talking about like he seems like a sleazy guy to me. Like you're kind of like sleazy creep. You know what I'm saying? That should be more his character. We discussed that until they turn like I said that they're trying to turn him into a Brian Pillman and he's not Brian Pillman. Brian Pillman was a weird was out there. He was like literally like he was fucking.
Pillman
nuts.
was kind of a shoot.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like but I definitely like him better when he's just because he can rap pretty good. He can talk fast without ever stumbling over his words. So
I like him. I like whatever he does. I liked Moxley. So.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Conan, since you always have your finger on the pulse of everything and the up and comers and whatnot. Did you know of him before he came to NXT as Ambrose?
The reason I knew of him is because of one reason.
Homicide?
Our brother, and I will include Disco in this from another mother, Norman Smiley, okay? He works there, and we'll talk from time to time, and he goes, bro, there's this guy that he came in, he's special, he's not like everybody else, he's just a different cat. And I go, who the fuck is it?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, Moxley. Mm-hmm. And I was like, who the fuck? And then when he was Dean Ambrose, I go, is that the guy you were talking about? He goes, yeah, check him out. He's real different than everybody else, bro. He don't give a fuck, but he's cool. And like, he really put him over as somebody I should see. And for him to go out of his way, out of all the wrestlers that he sees, that I already had like a good reference point when I first saw him because it was coming from Norman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I started to see what he was about, I was like, wow, this guy's pretty dope. Then I went back and I saw some promos he did when he was in the Indies, and he was great.
There was one specifically that he did during a feud with Homicide
right?
Like he did it in a back alley, and it was for Evolve.
Send that to me.
So good. Yeah,
I like
will,
to see
definitely.
it.
Yeah.
He was really talented, man.
Well, that's his problem too. He could be real. He could take the next step and go to the next level if he's a creepy guy like that. If he could learn how to throw a good punch, you know what I'm saying? Is it that he's still just got his work is fine. Everything else, he just has one glaring hole in it. You know, you can't throw a punch, and your character should be, Piper could throw a punch. You know? So
I don't know if his style of work that we've seen anyway is really in the end going to be what the AEW fans kind of like, because he is like that rough and tumble kind of guy. He's not very smooth like Omega. You know, it might not be.
But that's what they like about him. He's still charismatic, and he's still going to put in 100% work effort, and he's got a cool thing about him. You know what I'm saying? People, he's a star, bro. People are going to like him.
Yeah.